welcome to the show. This is All Sports with Joe and George. This is our third show in the series.
Third big show.
Third big show. So we got a lot to talk about.
We got renewed. I don't know how.
It's public TV, Joe.
Yeah.
Before the last show, Joe's over here and he's like, oh, man, I don't know if we have enough to talk about. We're not going to get through the hour. We got plenty to talk about tonight. So a couple things that we're going to touch on. If you watched our first episode a few weeks ago, we broke the story, I think. I think we broke the story of Guerrero, Tom Brady's trainer, getting kind of banished from the team bus and the meetings and stuff like that.
TB12, baby.
Lo and behold, this Seth Wickersham from ESPN had this long article.
He's on it.
And not only did he put the article out, but they leaked it and everything else, so everybody kind of knew it was coming.
Pulitzer Prize.
So we're going to touch on that. We can touch on the NCAA championship football game that was on not too long ago. And before we get into that, I will have to say that Joe did exactly pick who was going to play. I had picked Georgia against Oklahoma. Joe had it right. We can touch a little bit on the NFL draft because as Giants and Jets fans here behind the desk, we have no playoff interest. Also, golf is back, and I know Joe doesn't care about this at all, but golf is back. Dustin Johnson won the first tournament of the year. So for all you golfers out there, that little holiday break is over and coincides with some warm weather outside here in the Northeast. Some good news. I just read earlier today that Ryan Shazier of the Steelers, who was really feared paralyzed a few weeks ago in a wheelchair, but is recovering and attended Steelers practice today. So that was kind of cool.
You know, one of the things about that is that people underplay how important he was to the Steelers defense.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I mean, the guy is probably the fastest linebacker in the NFL, sideline to sideline, and covers those backs out of the backfield and covers the tight end, which would be used when they play New England if he has to cover Gronk. Obviously, he won't be there.
Not gonna happen.
So I think it's a big factor.
Yeah.
Big factor.
But, I think a kind of a feel-good story to see him back at it. And what we were going to talk about for the entire show today was all the moves that the New York Mets made in the offseason, but they haven't done anything, so we don't have to talk about that at all.
A 5-minute show, we'd be done.
I couldn't fill 5 minutes. All right, so tell me, this Seth Wickersham.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts on the
the whole thing I think was kind of blown up to the fact that I don't know whether it's a power play between all involved or whether this guy Guerrero got too close to the team and had too many ins and outs of the access to their facility, where it got to the point where Belichick just said that's enough. Mm-hmm. And then I don't think it's a big deal. I just think it's just kind of like something to fill in the gaps between the playoffs for them. Same thing with Belichick going to the Giants or this kind of stuff and all this disharmony. It's kind of ridiculous to me. They're not going anywhere. I don't think none of them is going anywhere. Yeah. I think Belichick stays until Brady retires. Or, God forbid, gets hurt. Because he's not going to.
He's not going to get hurt, though, because he's pliable.
It's true.
See, if you're pliable, you don't get hurt.
TB12. Now, the other thing, too, is now, what is he going to do when he loses all his coaches? Matt Patricia's going to go, and Josh McDaniels going to go. So I think that's a bigger story than all this other stuff because you're losing your defense coordinator and your offense coordinator, who've been with them forever. They've been in there at least 9 years, I know. And then McDaniels took that little hiatus when he went to the Broncos, and he went somewhere else and then came back again. But generally speaking, they've been together for a long time. Yeah. And you run a business or run any kind of organization, and you lose your top people, it's going to take a hit.
Or whatever it's going to be.
It's going to take a toll no matter what. I mean, obviously you have people in place that could do it, but what's their level compared to what you got, where you lost? I think that's huge. Yeah. So I think that's a bigger story than all this other stuff. Yeah. But to me, I don't think Belichick really cares. He's doing this thing. Why would he leave there? Yeah. Why would he? It makes no sense.
Reading the article, you take everything with a grain of salt. My first reaction to it was, how can a franchise that's been so tight-lipped on anything? I mean, there's nothing coming out of that organization.
Right.
You've never heard Patricia or McDaniel give a press conference or anything else. How is this Seth guy getting? You read the article. It sounds like he's got 25 people in there, slipping him information, which seems a little sketchy. That was my question about it.
Well, the Patriots
how does that happen?
They did issue a statement. There's absolutely no validity to it.
The Patriots. They have to say that.
Who knows?
They have to say that. But there were some interesting points. I look at it and say, okay, well, Belichick has always said, if I call the shots, I'm good. Yeah. And so they alluded to in the article that Kraft basically forced the Garoppolo trade with the 49ers. Okay, so that crosses that line. And when you look back at that trade, I mean, they gave him away for nothing.
Right.
They gave a starter-ready quarterback for a second-round pick.
Interesting note about that. You know that Garoppolo at the end of the season is a free agent.
Right.
So he can go wherever the hell he wants, so whatever the heck he wants. So if he goes to, I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to stay in San Francisco unless they take care of him.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. So, I mean, he's accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. He goes out there, plays very well for 4 games. What did he go, 4-0, 5-0?
5-0.
Now he's upped his value even more.
Shows everybody that he can play.
Yeah, so now the guy just put himself to another level.
Yeah. And the other thing with the article is, you're talking about if Belichick leaves, when Brady leaves, and again, take it with a grain of salt, but basically the inference was that Belichick wanted to draft Garoppolo and know that when Belichick left, that he was leaving the Patriots in a good place because he had Garoppolo come up and he was going to take over for Brady. Now all of a sudden Brady with the TB12 and the pliability and everything else wants to play till he's 45. And quarterbacks don't play till they're 45.
But the thing is,
so they wanted that insurance in place, but I think Belichick wanted that to be his legacy.
Well, the thing is that no matter what you say, every year there's obviously a new crop of quarterbacks coming out every year. So if you don't have a Garoppolo, you don't have a Jacoby Brissett, there's going to be somebody else out there that can come in there that could be even better or equal to whoever you lost, and that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah.
You got some guys coming out this year that might be better than Garoppolo. Who knows? That play at a higher level. I mean, I don't even worry about that at that level. I don't think those guys really do. I don't. The other thing about Tom Brady is interesting. He just came out with a documentary of 6-part of his life. Did you see that? It's coming out.
It's going to be on Facebook.
It's coming out or something. Yeah. I mean, into his private life, which he's never done before.
So
with
don't
his
eat
kids.
broccoli. You got to wear a certain. You got to get a certain amount of sleep.
Avocado ice cream.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Here's another thing.
You follow that regimen, don't you?
How about this one? Just to vary off the subject a little bit. New Year's Eve. How in the world do people go to New York City and watch that ball drop in like 2-degree weather? I mean, to me, that was just like, don't and you can't go to the bathroom, right? People are wearing diapers. I mean, really,
we're going to change the name of the show here coming up pretty soon.
I just had to digress a little bit. All right, here's another topic which I found very interesting is UCF, Central Florida, has declared themselves a national champion. Now, which is fine. They had a parade. They made up a trophy.
Yeah, the Browns had a parade too.
13-0. With UCF, the coaches, Nick Saban, like I said, that's fine. Now,
Nick Saban doesn't care.
They don't care. It doesn't mean anything. Now, it's up to them to get a non-conference, I guess, a couple games where they play, top FBS schools where they can build more credibility. Yeah, the only thing I would say to this comment is that's a good argument for a 6 or 8 team playoff in college. Now, you've got 4 weeks between the games. Now, that's plenty of time between, to get a couple extra games there, and they're bowl games anyway. So, and you're only talking about 4 more teams. You're not talking like 20 more teams or impacting all the. So I think it's a good argument, and I think it's going to come.
So if you go 8 teams and now you need 2 weeks, so you'd have
2 more weeks. Yeah.
I guess you could do it. You got to get away from the New Year's Day being the we'll call it now the semifinal games being New Year's Day if you're going to do it that way.
You can do it in the middle of December though.
I don't know if they'd go middle of December. I know.
Well, they'd almost have to though. You can't go past this time of year. The other thing too is that.
But they could say do it. We're going to play it on December 23rd, the quarterfinals, and then I guess you could put the semifinals on the first.
You can work out logistically with the dates. The other thing too.
They wouldn't go to the middle of December though, because keep in mind that all these guys that are playing, they're student athletes, and they got to get ready for final exams before.
Here's the other thing: you can go to 6 teams and do the top 2 teams get byes. You could do it that way, and then 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5, and winners play that. You could do it that way too to eliminate that extra game, or you can go 8 teams. But that's I don't know if that will happen, but I think that leads credence to a team like UCF, a team like Ohio State, that maybe would get their shot. And people were mad because Alabama got in, and Alabama wins the whole thing. So I mean, it's kind of an interesting dynamic. I mean, the games went on the field.
We see it in the basketball tournament all the time. Yeah. All you need to do is basically get in. I mean, let's be honest. If you're a 15, 16 seed or something like that, but a 12 seed has won the basketball tournament before. Yeah, that's why they play the games. As
big guy.
Mr. Francesi used to say.
Now UCF, I thought it was tremendous the way Scott Frost and his staff wrote it out and coached in that game against Auburn. I've never saw that before. I've never seen it before. I don't know if it's unprecedented or where usually those guys leave or they don't coach, finish off, and they let either interim coach or maybe the new coach.
The coach is on his way out the door, but stayed with the staff to
and I
coach
just thought it was a tremendous story, a tremendous tribute to them. They did it the right way. I thought it was classy, and then they moved on because he's taking his whole staff with him to Nebraska. So they finished up what they started. Tremendous game, beat Auburn, and then they go to Nebraska, and I thought it was tremendous. I think that says a lot for him, his program. He's gonna do some amazing things at Nebraska. Amazing things. A great coach, great guy, and
get
very
Nebraska
interesting.
back into relevance.
Yeah, Nebraska and Oklahoma again.
Been a long time since
A
Nebraska.
long time, yeah.
Tommy Osborne, I used to love that. Was one.
That was a good old days.
I used to love the old Big 8 football.
Yeah.
You know when they threw the ball in Big 8 football back then? When time was running out in the end of the first half, and if the team was losing at the end. Other than that, it was run, wishbone option.
Then he had the old guy. What was the guy that coached the Cowboys there? What was his name?
Switzer.
Barry Switzer, who was. Anyway, how about the NCAA championship game with Alabama and Georgia? That was amazing, wasn't it?
That was a
good ball game.
Now I know if you're watching football on Sundays nowadays, and I'm not saying that the league is telling the broadcasters what to do, but if you listen to these broadcasters during Wild Card Weekend a few weeks ago, and it was this is an instant classic. The guy called I can't remember who was in the booth. Called the Buffalo game an instant classic. That was one of the worst football games I've ever seen.
Set the game back 20 years. Offensively, anyway.
On the flip side of that, I mean, you're halfway through the fourth quarter of that game. You don't know how it's going to end up. And I mean, that had all the stories, all the drama that you could ask for.
I mean, it was an amazing thing. The Jags obviously have a tremendous defense. But Blake Bortles, oh my God, I'm sorry.
At least he's got legs. He can run because he knew he couldn't throw.
He couldn't throw the ball 10 feet to a guy wide open. He's overshooting guys by 5 feet, and they're in the flat area wide open. I was like, are you kidding me? And for them, he was able to make some yards with his legs and actually get a touchdown in there and win the game. I mean, but and then they go into Pittsburgh. Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be.
That's going to be. The only thing about Pittsburgh is sometimes the Steelers have a tendency to play down to their opponent a little bit, but this is the playoffs, so you're not going to get that problem.
And Jacksonville has all the motivation because Pittsburgh, they've had a number of quotes just talking about going to New England.
Now, the first time
they're looking past
how about the first time they played Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 interceptions? Yeah. It's not happening this time. I'll tell you that right now.
But getting back to the NCAA game, like I say, it had all the drama. I was frankly shocked that it was 13-0 Georgia at the half. I didn't see it going that way at all. But for Nick Saban, who's he can walk on water when it comes to coaching college football, to pull his starter,
amazing,
was. I mean, I can't say it's anything except a gutsy move.
My response to that is very simple. I watched him play probably 5 or 6 times during the year, and I saw him play Tua. I'm not going to try his last name. Tua. I'm going to call him Tua. Okay. He played in 1 or 2 games mop-up, and you could tell he had some skill, a tremendous skill set, which is fine. Now, obviously, they see him practice every day. They had to know that he was capable of doing what he did. Whether he's doing a big stage, I don't know. But he's probably he's going against the Alabama ones in practice. So it's got to be the same or equal, even better than the Georgia ones.
When he's running the scout team.
When he's running the scout team. So I mean, it was definitely a risk, but it wasn't. He's not going to do anything unless he's like really, really sure. And to me, Jalen Hurts was a great athlete. He was 25-2, I think.
25-2. Yeah. Lost the Clemson game last year.
Looked like he was asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a mellow, laid-back guy, which is fine. Those big moments, but he was just kind of like guy going along. And the brilliant part about that with Saban is he said, we need energy. We're not going to beat this team by doing what we're doing. Let's bring another guy in there, a lefty that can move the ball and spread it out. And it worked. It worked too.
I'd heard, shortly thereafter, I think it was Joe Beningo was talking about it. Hurts was sick. He just, had a cold, flu, whatever else. Missed a couple practices. So rather than Tua running the scout team,
the first team,
he ran the first team. Said the ball never touched the ground. Yeah. I mean, it was spotless.
Yeah, he's got skills.
So obviously he was talented, but still, a gutsy move. But like I said, the game had everything.
One thing about that game, I think it was the touchdown that tied it. Maybe he threw a pass into the end zone, 4th and 13, I think it was, and Calvin Ridley caught it, but I don't think it was for him. It was for Harris in the back end zone. Announcers didn't even say anything. Harris is going behind, Ridley's going this way, and Ridley came in front, made a great catch on 4th down to tie the score. But I think it was for Harris in the back of the end zone, which the announcer didn't say anything. Maybe it was. I don't know. But he just kind of threw it. Yeah. And whatever, it came out. I felt bad for the Alabama kicker to miss the field goal at the end of regulation
Oh.
to win it. That poor guy. You know what's funny?
I did mention golf is back, and that was one of the most ugly drop
that
kick
baby.
pull hooks
Yeah.
I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And you watching the game, you think, okay, well, Alabama's. They got back into position. Now they're on their heels again. They drive him down, and they leave the guy with the 30-yard field goal.
Yeah.
As time's basically run, I think there was 2 seconds left after the kick or something like that.
They even nailed
so it was
down.
perfect. And now, the momentum of that to now, it's like the air can get sucked out of your team, and then, they hold Georgia to a field goal.
I don't know if you noticed that too, but at the end, on that, right before the attempted field goal, they put Hurts back in there, and he ran the ball and kind of like fell down
to center,
the center for him to make it better for him, and he shanked it. One thing about it, watching Alabama all those years, I can't remember, and I could be wrong, that they've never had a good or a great field goal kicker. I mean, it's kind of weird they can't find one. Maybe the guys are like, I'm not going to go there. I don't know. But they really haven't had a lights out, whereas the Georgia kicker was tremendous.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, he nailed that kick in overtime.
Yeah, he hit a 52-yarder.
Yeah.
So then that happens. And then, first play from scrimmage when Alabama's got the ball, he looks like an 18-year-old freshman. I mean, he just can't do that. All of a sudden now, and what does he do next play? 42 yards.
Out of dime.
Absolute blown coverage.
Out of dime, yep.
I mean,
14 got burned a couple times. I don't know if he was in there for injury or what.
Yeah.
But
he's going to have to stay and get his degree.
The other thing,
or play for the Jets.
The other thing was interesting. Prior to that, there was a big drive, I forget, toward the end of the game, where Sonny Michel and Nick Chubb were on the sidelines the whole series, and they went 3 and out. And I thought that was very interesting. And the announcers didn't really say anything about it. They brought it. They had Swift in there, the freshman running back, who was amazing.
Yep.
They had him in there, and they threw the ball 3 times. And you got your 2 big horses in there, and they weren't in there at that, which was kind of strange to me. But obviously, the coaches did it for a reason, and they do what they do. But I mean, I just thought that was interesting. Where at the time you're going to pound it, and this is your seniors, and let's go.
Yeah.
But I mean, for Nick Saban to make that change, I just thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, me too. It's entertaining.
And it turned out, and you got to give him a lot of credit for having the guts to do that.
Maybe some folks at home thought the greatest part of the game was the extended halftime show, because now we're getting warmed up for the extended halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Kendrick Lamar, gotta love it.
I think Pink is going to sing at the Super Bowl, which is going to be
singing the national anthem.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be national anthem?
National anthem. Justin Timberlake's doing the halftime entertainment.
Oh, well.
A beautiful thing.
I got that to look forward to.
Pink probably hanging from swinging a tightrope, flying through the stadium. So say, can you see, right?
So at least she's standing up.
She'd be flying like Peter Pan.
The Super Bowl is going to be in Minnesota. There is a chance. Now, Joe and I, we've already picked Patriots Saints. We've independently, we both picked it that way. But the Vikings certainly have a chance to go
entertainment purposes only, though.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the Vikings have a chance to play a home game.
First time ever. The Super Bowl.
Is it the first? So the Dolphins never got into Super Bowl 6 or something in the Orange Bowl?
I thought it was the first time ever, but
okay, could be.
I don't know. Maybe they're.
I actually meant to look that up last night.
You know what it was? Maybe their home. They had 2 home fields at that time. Orange Bowl. They played some. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was the first time ever that a team could possibly play in an actually home stadium for the Super Bowl. It's kind of interesting.
Now I understand the NFL too. They have to move things around, right? You can't just keep going from New Orleans to Miami to Atlanta or something like that.
Right.
But man, Minnesota. First of all, it's an indoor stadium,
beautiful stadium,
isn't the end of the world. But the whole week of the Super Bowl is. There's activities and there's this.
It's all indoors. It's all indoors. I mean, all that.
It stinks. Remember they did it in Detroit 10 years ago.
Yeah, Super Bowl at Yankee Stadium a couple years ago. Is that in New York?
No, Joe. No. They're talking about they have a bowl game. Super Bowl at Yankee Stadium. I don't know. Not in my lifetime.
No, it was a couple years ago. Maybe not.
No. They never had a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was dreaming.
Dreaming of your Yankees.
How about Lamar Ball? This guy, huh? He's over in. He's questioning Luke Walton now. Beautiful. This guy is got out of his mind.
The Empire, ESPN. What they call him? They called him the Kardashians of basketball.
Yeah. He had a wig on and everything. I mean, he's saying that Walton lost the team, doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, what are we, in 8th grade travel team? You question your coaches like this? I mean, this is it's just incredible.
It's out of control.
And then Rick Carlisle, who's president of the Coaches Association, responded, stay out of it.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut. I mean, it's very interesting.
I don't know where I don't know what a good resolution to this.
It's entertainment. I mean, and poor Lonzo Ball. I mean, he seems to be handling it okay, but I mean, who knows? I think that's amazing.
Yeah, but, I mean, like you say, the eighth grade or little league kids. Think about that kid out in the little league field playing shortstop. He wants to crawl into the ground because his dad is the one that's doing this and that.
Screaming, yeah.
Interesting. The Better Business Bureau rated Ball's business. He's got, I don't know, I can't remember what he calls it.
Big baller brand.
They gave him an F. So the Better Business Bureau gave him an F, which I'm assuming has delivery problems, quality control of.
I thought one of the things with his sneakers is that I think you have to prepay and then they ship it to you type thing. So I don't know if that's an issue with that. That's $500 for a pair of sneakers.
How many pair you got? You got a bunch of pairs?
No, I'm saving up.
Saving up for
I go to the bank and finance it.
The new Air Jordan release.
Yeah.
So getting back to the NFL, again, obviously no moves yet or anything else. That's got to wait until.
Coaching moves talking about?
Well, anything. Yeah. But the big coaching move, no free agency signings or anything yet. But Chucky's back.
Yeah.
Chucky's back. The highest paid. This guy's making more money than
$100 million.
Than anybody.
$100 million, 10 years.
Yeah.
And, he said I might be dead in 10 years. Is what he said. Because I hope I make it. He goes, I hope I make it 3 or 4, which is,
maybe he should get in his will.
Yeah. He's up there. He's 56.
He's been out of the coaching organization for 10 years now?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Around there, yeah.
ESPN broadcaster, this and that.
Yeah.
Real smart guy. Had a short but successful career. Didn't finish his coaching career very well.
Right.
But then again, he got traded to Tampa Bay. When was the last time a coach got traded?
Yeah, he's always been a Raider guy. So
he was a Raider guy. Then the Raiders traded him to Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And the next year, what does he do? He takes Tampa Bay and he beats Oakland in the.
I know it was a long time ago, but he knew everyone on that Raider squad. I mean, he coached them all, so I mean, that was a big advantage, obviously. But that was
so Chucky's back, and the Raider Nation's excited, and they're
at least he's not going to be.
I think is great.
Good for the league
because they're close. I mean,
they're going to Las Vegas, aren't they?
Well, the Raiders are close to. Being a real playoff contending team.
Aren't they moving to Las Vegas?
And they are going to go to Vegas.
I mean, that's where the money is. Yeah.
But Gruden will be in Oakland before that happens. So they're going to play 2018 season.
Well, a guy like him is smart because those coaches like him aren't going to go somewhere unless you have a franchise quarterback, and they have that in Derek Carr.
Yeah.
So they have a great quarterback. So that leads us to the next thing where a couple of these coordinators are shopping around to see where they're going to go now. Matt Nagy went to the Bears. The Bears. And he was the offensive coordinator for Andy Reid in Kansas City. Now,
yeah, he did. An offensive coordinator, he did a bang-up job in the wild card game.
Second half, especially. Yeah. But the thing is, they say about Nagy from I forget who the quoted it, but they said he's an amazing guy, blah blah blah, and he's an amazing individual, great coach. So that sounds like a good hire. But there's no guarantee a guy at any level can be a head coach. You got your offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, whoever they may be.
Oh yeah, no.
Head coaches. I mean, there's no training. I mean,
we talked about this in the last show.
It's interesting.
You don't know. Matthew Patricia is the kind of the word on the street is that he's going to get the job with the Giants. He's been a fantastic coordinator. Obviously, he's the coordinator for the most successful offensive program.
Again, I'll say it again: is when you go to be coach at any kind of pro team, you better have a good quarterback in place. Otherwise, you're going to get fired in 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear about rebuilding. Nobody wants to hear about I'm going to find somebody. They want to win right now. People are impatient. They want to see progress. I mean, you get coaches that go 9-7 get fired for crying out loud nowadays.
Yeah.
And
then you got coaches that go 5-11 and get in a contract extension.
Yeah,
whoa!
Or Marvin Lewis has one playoff game like at 45 years.
Yeah. Well.
And he got 2-year extension. And he got like 5 ex-cons on the team for crying out loud. Interesting, like Josh McDaniel, I guess he's narrowed down to the Giants and the Colts. I think are two of his I guess, 2 top choices. Now, interesting with the Colts. I think he might go to the Colts for a simple fact that it depends on the health and of Andrew Luck. I think
which
he's
is still unknown.
Still unknown.
At the time of the airing of this show,
that's a huge factor with him because he's smart enough to know that you're going to be a head coach. You better have a franchise quarterback that can take your team to where you want to go. And I think Luck is he's sitting there going, okay, do I want to go to the Giants with an aging Eli Manning, who knows how much he has left, and all the stuff they need, or do I go to the Colts with Andrew Luck in his prime, if healthy? That might be a big factor. So the rumor has is that Matt Patricia's going to the Giants. I heard that today.
That's the word, yeah.
Again, no guarantee. A great defensive coordinator. How will he be at the head of? Steve Spagnuolo was a great defensive coordinator. He went to be head coach and just had an awful time with it.
Yeah, some people would say Rex Ryan was a great defensive coordinator. A lot of people would detract that. When he was the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, who won a Super Bowl with 0 offense. Now, it was if that was Rex or not, but certainly he showed that he was. I mean, he's an entertaining guy. I love the guy, and I was happy. For most of the time he was with the Jets, but he showed he's not.
And he wants to coach again. He said on ESPN he wants to come back and coach again. Now,
well, maybe UCF's looking for a coach.
Hey, Lane Kiffin will go there.
Oh, Lane Kiffin's he's all set at the Akron, right?
Akron, no, Lane Kiffin's at. No, he's at.
They played against Akron. Yeah. We'll get back to it.
Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic. Another powerhouse. They
just signed him to like a 6 or 8 year deal, I believe, too. So, but that doesn't mean anything nowadays.
Just to keep this a little bit local. Talk about UCF, talk about Florida Atlantic. These it's a tier down. I know UCF went 13-0. You can question the schedule and stuff like that. Here in the Nutmeg State, we've got a football team.
We do.
Up in Stores.
Oh, we do. Really? Didn't know that.
I mean, is there any future there?
Well, it's funny because Bryant Sheffitt, is that his name? Sheffitt? He just graduated as quarterback.
Yeah.
And he went up there and did pretty well, and he got hurt. And he said that the coaching was good and everything was good, but they never had got enough athletes.
Yeah.
And then they just lost their offensive coordinator. I think his name was Ryan Lesby or Lasbee. Lashby or something. Okay. He went to SMU just now. So they had no offense anyway, but I mean he went there. But they say he was on the rise as an offensive coordinator. Coach. Right. Okay. The answer for UConn football, I don't know. I mean, the facilities seem to be good and everything like that. And I think one thing that hurts some of these teams is lack of like a steady conference. They kind of been jumping around in these different leagues and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing.
Kind of roasted on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. UConn football, I mean.
And they showed that, UConn did get to the Fiesta Bowl the year. That was Edsall's last game in the first session.
They've got to get the Connecticut athletes, as few as they are, but they've got to try to keep all those guys in the state to kind of build that up.
But on a national level, are there enough athletes in Connecticut?
That's the thing. So. I don't know. And then,
I don't think so.
It's a funny story because there's a guy that comes to Subway, and he's got a nephew that is 6'5", 6'6", about 310, and he's from Florida. And he went to Syracuse on a full ride. He's a center, actually, and he's a redshirt sophomore this year. And he went up to Syracuse and never seen snow.
Yeah.
But I went up there. Now, why? I don't know the details on that, but I thought it was interesting.
We're talking Syracuse football, which, they're not a national powerhouse, but they have been. They've been on the national stage, around the country. I think Syracuse football does carry a little bit of leverage.
Right, they got to carry down.
The UConn Husky football. Talk basketball. Yeah, forget about it.
Not comparing it to it, but I'm just saying that there's a perfect example of a guy from Florida goes up to Syracuse. Why? It's an individual situation.
I actually met the kid, the nephew of Mike there.
Oh, he did?
That's a big boy.
Yeah. It's a big kid.
Yeah.
He got a chance at the next level, too. All right, how about the Mets have been standing pat. Chance they're talking with the Pirates now about a few things. Let's go to your Mets for a minute.
The Mets.
McCutchen and Harrison maybe coming.
Possible. McCutchen, Harrison.
That'd be all right.
I mean, what do the Mets need?
What don't they need?
They need bats. Well, they need bats. They have pitching if they're healthy.
Yeah.
but they need some outfielders like a McCutchen with some power.
I have no idea how Conforto's going to be at the beginning of the year, if he's going to be ready. They say he's looking good. He's on schedule, but what does that mean? I think if I were the Mets and I had an open checkbook, I would get Moustakas and Hosmer from KC and sign them up 5-year, 7-year deals. You got your corner guys for the next 5-6 years and build everybody else around it, and you'd be good to go with that pitching staff. They would be a team to be reckoned with.
Right. But your opening line there was open up the checkbook, and it's not happening.
They never do.
It's not happening. The Wilpons are not going to spend the money.
You know who's talking to the Mets, though, is possible, is Todd Frazier.
Yeah.
Of the Yankees.
Now, and I said this the last time we were talking about the Mets, they're saying that they're not going to spend any money.
Right.
Now, we'll find out March 30th if that's true, because the Wilpons, they're not the greatest owners ever, but they're pretty good business people. And they could be saying, hey, we're not going to spend a lot of money so that these agents aren't looking for a whole lot of money.
The problem you have going on now in general with baseball is that all the agents are playing a cat and mouse game with each other. So no one's kind of like who's going to make their first move.
Well, the other thing,
and everyone's kind of standing pat.
The other thing is too, you don't have a George Steinbrenner. Omar Minaya is back.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
But he's not calling the shots. So what?
Are you related to Omar Minaya? I want to know that right now, right here on the TV.
But my point is, you don't have those owners. You know, it's Steinbrenner back in the day.
Oh, I just spend it.
I'm going to spend whatever I need to spend.
Yeah.
And so now you get these owners that are a little bit more reluctant to do that. So nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
You know, the owners and the general managers aren't taking a risk and signing these, you know, Robinson Cano 10-year $1 billion contracts.
That's the issue.
And you know, so there's thought now is, are there, you know, it's a popular word, you know, in the last 6 months, but is it collusion that the owner or the agents rather are saying, well, let's just hold off and we're not going to say yes to anything.
Well, a perfect example is this Yankees are going back with this Garrett Cole from the Pirates. Now you've got, they want 3 top prospects. I think the Yankees are willing to go with Clint Frazier, part with him, and part with Chance Adams. And their third prospect is going to be a lesser prospect. Now, what the holdup is, I don't know, but now the Astros are talking to Garrett Cole as well.
Yeah.
So it's this cat and mouse game that they're all playing. Now the other thing is you've got per example is Evan Longoria goes from Tampa Bay to the Giants. Now he's on the back end of a 10-year deal. I think he's got 5 years left, and the Giants take him. And he's on the downside of his career too, but they take him. And there's a perfect example of these 10-year contracts. Yeah. You got. Pujols for the Angels. He can't run down to first base. He's got 4 years left.
Is he still in baseball?
Still baseball. He's about 95 years old. And, he can't even run down to first base. I mean, his legs, his feet. You know.
Well, you're talking to a fan of a team who's still paying.
Hey,
Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla, $1 million a year at least.
Bobby Bonilla's coming in a couple months. It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
That's true. He got about 5 more years left, maybe, right?
So if they can keep a pitching staff healthy and add a McCutchen, if Conforto comes back healthy and strong.
They want McCutchen, Harrison.
They're certainly a contender.
Yeah. They don't got much to offer, though, the Mets, as far as trade bait. I don't think. Lagares maybe, but.
Nah, nobody's going to get all excited about Lagares.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have much to offer. So, I mean, why would you make a deal with them?
But they, so they haven't even signed Jose Reyes.
Right.
Which you might as well at this point, because he's basically going to be free. And
especially in New York, you sign a Moustakas and a Hosmer. I mean, you're going to get the money back. I don't know much about the economics of it, but you would think that it's a good investment. You know, the place is going to be filled up every night. People that get excited. Take a little bit of thunder away from the Yankees. It's still I think the Yankees still own New York, as far as I know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And it probably would be unless they do something.
With the exception of, say, the mid '80s, 84 to 88
wild crew there.
In there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Yankees have.
We had Dwight Gooden miss the parade that time, right? He was a little busy.
That was I love that team.
Yeah, we're not going there.
I love that team.
We're not going there. Now, the other thing is that the Red Sox haven't done anything.
No.
They're still looking at J.D. Martinez, big power hitter. Yep. They need power. They have no power at all. That was one of their biggest things. Yeah. But they're sitting on their hands too. So I think it's very interesting. Everybody's playing this. Nobody's making a move. When someone makes a move, start the dominoes falling or something. But it seems like that everybody's kind of sitting back and waiting. Now even Todd Frazier. Now he's talking to the Mets, talking to the Yankees. I think he wants to stay in the New York area. Mm-hmm. I read an article yesterday that he's in tremendous shape. I mean, he should be, and he's working out at some place in New Jersey with some special trainer. And his goal is to get his batting average up higher. I mean, he's always had the power. I think he's got actually, last 3 years, he's got second or third most home runs by a third baseman in the major leagues, which you never would think about that. He's got like 95 home runs or something in the last 3 years.
Is he pliable?
Give Brady a call, get that TB12 going on. Yeah, but I mean, I love Frazier on the Yankees. I thought he was great in the clubhouse, a great leader, a great guy. I mean, great, tremendous fielder. Oh my God, Golden Glove third baseman. Yeah, he hit 213 or whatever, but he still had 25, 30 home runs. I mean, the Yankees can handle him. Bat ninth, what's the difference?
Oh, sure.
I mean, why not? Yeah. Why wouldn't you keep a guy like that?
Well, you Yankee fans, I mean, you're spoiled. I mean, come on.
But I mean, what? The only thing
he had what's his name in the 2017 season? The kid, Judge. Starts. I mean, he just going crazy. He's hitting 330s, hitting a home run every other night, this, that, and the other thing. And I was talking to somebody at the golf course one day, and like, oh, he's in a slump. He's batting 290. You got a guy 290 who hits, what, 40? Yeah. How many home runs did he end up with?
He had 50-something.
50, okay, 50-something. The guy ends up hitting 280-something. And the Yankees fans have the audacity to complain, oh, he's in a slump. You guys are spoiled.
Well, he also had a shoulder injury, which he had surgery in offseason. But the thing is that back to the Yankees, since you're interrupting me, they want to look. They haven't signed Frazier because they're looking at young third baseman. They got this guy Andujar, and they got Torres, their top prospect that can play third, even though he's a middle infielder. Yeah. So I think their dilemma is like, do we play these young guys, see where we got? They don't really know what they got, or do we go with Frazier, the veteran that
spend the money?
So I think that's it's another cat and mouse game. I think they're playing with their.
Yeah, and you got to be careful. Okay, he's a middle infielder and he can play third.
Right.
Well, I mean, obviously they did it with A-Rod.
Right.
That happens, but if the guy becomes a superstar, then you got an ego thing, and then. But are you sacrificing the defensive side of it?
Well, I
know it's American League and everything's offense.
Well, Andujar's a true third baseman, right? And Torres is a true middle infielder.
Would be a convert.
You're also thinking of Torres to play maybe second base, because right now they got Torres there, who is a great little player, but can he? The wear and tear of a whole season, how is he going to hold up after 160 games, 150 games, whatever it may be? Yeah. I mean, you saw Castro breaking down every other week. He had all kinds of injuries. Yeah. That was only his fourth and fifth year.
TB12 method.
So I mean,
don't get hurt.
And with the Yankees, with Bird coming back all year long, I mean, obviously their lineup is loaded.
Clearly I would say
that'd be a team to be in the American League. I would
have to say, yeah.
But here's another interesting. They got the guy Machado from Baltimore. I heard that he's moving back to shortstop, which is interesting. Okay. And he'll be a free agent after this year, I think. So I don't know if anyone wants to spend rent him for a year and then potentially lose him. I don't think he's going anywhere, and I don't know how the Orioles can afford to let him go. So all that stuff is very interesting.
Baltimore just seems like they're just they've been on the verge there for a couple of years now, and
they've never had any good pitching.
You can't start letting that stuff go.
Yeah.
You let a Machado go or something like that. Well, I mean, now you become the.
Well, what we don't know is how is in the locker room. How is he with everybody else? Is he just off for himself? Is he? I think that's a big dynamic.
And in smaller markets, you can hide that. Yeah. If you get a guy on a New York franchise who's bad in the locker room, you can't hide it. I mean, there's too much media, and the media doesn't. They're not going to. They're not going to downplay anything.
Well, that's a big.
You get to these smaller markets, I think you could hide that if that's the case. I haven't,
You look at the Yankees in the media, and they're totally coached up, and they have people that actually work with them as far as handling media. You hear Aaron Judge talk. I mean, it's like listening to Derek Jeter. I mean, he's humble, and he's complimentary. He doesn't take any credit by himself. And Todd Frazier's the same way. And one of the biggest things about succeeding in New York is being able to handle the media. Whether it's baseball, football, coach, player, whatever, you got to be able to handle the media, because they're going to be all. They know when you go to the bathroom for crying out loud. They know everything.
They know what time Matt Harvey gets home.
They sure do.
And that's an interesting point, and I think there's in any football, baseball, basketball, whatever else, there's players who will stay away from. They'll tell their agents, "Look, I don't want to play in New York. I don't want to play in that spotlight," which is fine.
Right.
hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Whereas other guys, that's their ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Well, Reggie Jackson didn't belong in Oakland. Reggie Jackson belonged as a Yankee.
They thrive on that.
Back in that time.
On that situation, exactly, yeah. It's very interesting.
It's a different scenario.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about, we got the playoffs coming up with the NFL. Obviously, when this show airs, it'll be over with, these games.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about them a little bit anyway. Eagles and Falcons, I think, is very interesting. Eagles with Foles, can they continue to play well? And then the Falcons look like they're on the rise, look like they're peaking at the right time, and look like they've learned from last year what they've done. Prediction is not going to matter, so let's not even predict. Now you got the Titans and the Patriots, which people think that the Titans are just going to blow them out, which they should.
Patriots are going to blow the Titans out? Or are you saying the Titans are going to blow the Patriots out?
No. I think Patriots should take care of
it. This is live, you said that.
The only thing I say about that is sometimes when a team like Patriots has been off for a couple of weeks, they might come out a little slow. And Titans got to get them quick. But they should never got out of KC. Now what happened at KC game, when Kelsey got hurt, that was huge. He got hurt. He didn't play the second half. Concussion.
Somebody's got to step up there.
I mean, you got to step up, and if you don't, you're going to lose, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Kelsey, because Kelsey's their biggest weapon. I think their best offensive player. You got Akeem Hunt, and you got Tyreek Hill, but I think Kelsey makes those guys better because of what he does in the middle of the field and how he.
Why doesn't Kansas City change the game plan and start running the ball there? They can run the ball.
Yeah.
And now their number one target goes down, and they put the backup to the number one target, and they try to run the same game plan.
And they had trouble with, that guy had a couple drops, the backup tight end for Casey. And then the other thing, too, is that they could not stop Derrick Henry. And what do you have, like 156 yards, I think, in that game? Which he's a monster. He's big. But,
I don't think it's a new strategy that if you're up, you want to eat the clock.
Well, think about the other thing.
And you can run the ball.
How about Mariota when he throws the ball and it gets bad to him, and the guy pushed him, and he still caught the ball and got a touchdown. Now, funny part about that, I watched the game very closely, and Darrelle Revis was getting beat all the time. Couldn't make any tackles, and it was just like, the announcers I guess they're maybe too nice, but they weren't going to say anything. But he made a couple tackles. He just swiped at the guy, and it was just like, and they were going after him.
Revis Island.
It was no island. That's for damn sure. That was an interesting game.
One of the games that I'm really looking forward to is, I think, and you'll see when we watch the show when it comes on, the Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game.
Amazing.
I think is going to be a war.
Amazing. I think that's two great defenses.
And I think Jacksonville's got a chip on their shoulder. I think they feel like they've got something to prove. They feel like they're getting slighted.
Yep.
And right in the open, you made a good point that Shazier being out, is certainly.
Antonio Brown's back. He should be playing. How healthy? How will he be? Is he full capacity, 100%? I don't know, but I guess he's practicing.
But if you just said Blake Bortles versus Ben Roethlisberger,
oh my God,
how can that be a contest?
Yeah,
if it's a low-scoring affair,
look at this way too. Bortles cannot be any worse than he was against Buffalo. He just can't. So he should play better, and And you can look at it this way. Let's let our defense win it. If you're the Jags, let's let our defense win it.
Yeah.
Bortles, don't screw it up. Let's just run the ball for that. Let's just kind of keep the ball away. I
always think back to we were talking about, mentioned Rex Ryan with the Ravens before. Quarterback would go out, he'd go 3 and out.
Yeah.
And they'd be patting him on the back. Hey, he did a great job.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately, I think, where they are.
Yeah. How about there's a game when the Panthers played the Saints last week, and do you see when Cam Newton got hit and he was going out of the game and he went to his knees? He said it was something in his eye.
He said he got poked in his eye.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of questions about maybe the Panthers kind of skirted around the concussion protocol, but there is an independent, it's not the league, it's not the team's call.
Right.
They have somebody there to evaluate the guy with the thing. Right. But it looked like he basically fainted or passed out or whatever
he went
else.
to his knees,
and he walked into a wall or something. But he had something in his eye.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought Derek Anderson, and he almost threw a pick, I think, what it was.
Yeah.
But.
So you like New England? No shock there.
I mean, you can never pick against New England, no matter what the circumstances, especially at home. I mean,
You don't think that the Seth Wickersham articles got them all opposed or anything?
No factor.
No factor. Zero factor. Okay.
Matter of fact, it might be the other way where they kind of thrive on it and they kind of like feed off it.
That's kind of what I think is going to happen.
It's just motivation.
Kind of like the Deflate Gate was.
What Belichick does, he takes your best player on offense, let's use an example, and takes them out of the game.
Yeah.
And makes you make adjustments. And a lot of these coaches, other teams, don't make the adjustments or can't make the adjustments and end up getting beat. And he does that better than anybody that's ever probably coached. So I think that's, best player for the Titans. So that being said, they will not let Derrick Henry get more than probably 60 yards total a game because they're not going to take the wrong, make Mariota throw the ball. And Mariota is prone to interceptions. I think he had 15 interceptions and maybe 20 touchdowns, something like that. I don't quote me on these stats, something like that. But he will make a lot of mistakes, and I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to load the box, make Henry, take him out of the game. Because DeMarco Murray, I don't know. I don't think he's playing. He's still iffy. Maybe he's kind of like maybe plays, but even so,
as of today, they haven't made a call
even so,
yet.
I wouldn't worry about it. And then they're going to make Mariota beat them down the field or run the ball. So, and then Brady's going to do what Brady does, and they're just going to control the clock. They're going to move the ball up and down the field. Yeah. What I love about the Patriots, so I watch them all the time, is that they're always pushing the envelope. Like, they don't take a series off. They're always trying to score. They're always trying to do the best again. Where other teams seem like they go 3 and out, no big deal. They're always trying to, and field position. That's what makes them so amazing.
Yeah. And I think when you have that high-powered offense, you can certainly do that. And I think you mentioned a little bit in the championship, the college game. There's times where teams. There's a chess match. Yeah. And if I'm an underdog, I don't want to score too early. I want to get in position. I want to play the field position game. I don't want to get things out of hand. But if you're playing against the Patriots, Atlanta kind of showed it. One of the worst things you can do is get out to a hot start and make the Patriots now really dig in. Right. You almost to beat them. It's almost like for the golfers out there, the first time you break 80, you don't want to be playing real well the whole day and you're clearly going to break 80. You need, it's almost easier to kind of make those almost mistake birdies at the end, and all of a sudden, boom, I shot 78. Right. To upset a team like the Patriots, you hang around, and then you happen to score with a minute and a half left, and hopefully they don't have anything. Right. So I think it's a different mentality based on the weapons that you have.
One thing I want to add, I forgot to say before about the Alabama-Georgia game. I read this last week. It was interesting. That if I'm correct in this, that Alabama has 37 4- or 5-star recruits on their roster right now. Yep. And the other 3 teams in the playoff system, Georgia, Oklahoma, and what was the other team? Clemson. They have 32 total. Yeah. Total. Yeah. So that means they're basically 8, 9, 10 a team, and they've got 37. Yeah. I mean, that's the amazing part. They have such depth at everywhere, but also obviously they're coached up and Saban does a tremendous job. But I mean, that's an interesting stat there.
And somebody could look at that and say, well, Nick Saban's not.
They should win. They got the best players.
Right, but that's an awful lot of ego that you got to handle.
Absolutely.
Now you got 37. 5-star recruits. Well, the guys who aren't 5-star recruits aren't schleps either.
Who was the running back in the game, in the Alabama game?
Who was the running back of the game?
Number 22. Yeah. Harris. He's a freshman. Hadn't played the whole game. Yeah. So I mean, it's amazing that they do that. But you put a good point. Egos. They're aside when you're on that team. You can't think yourself. You see Jalen Hurts, who's right in there encouraging. And
that, that comes from Saban. There was actually talk. I don't know if you heard it the last day or so that maybe maybe Saban wants to coach in the NFL. Maybe he'll come to the Giants. Why would he want to do that?
Well, you need that.
Not to mention, I no guarantees, but I think. Say the Giants want to get him. They have to buy out $28 million worth of Nick Saban's contract before they sign him. Yeah. And if there's no way Saban would ever do that in the first place, but if he was going to do it, he's not going to let Chucky Gruden get more than he is. Well, I'm going to, I want that. So if Chucky's getting $100 million, then I want $100 million.
Guys like Saban, Urban Meyer, all these guys, they know every move these college kids make. They know everything about them. Yeah. And at the pros, guys like, yeah, okay. So I mean, it's a totally different ballgame. And those guys will never. Why would they ever leave? But Saban's like, he'd say 64, I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what come on. I mean, I think a lot of times a lot of these things are just made up just to talk.
Yeah.
Just something to talk about. They have no validity.
Yeah.
No substantiation. There's no fact behind it. Somebody's making something up. I don't know where they hear it from. But it's quite amazing that they. One more thing about Saban is that I've never seen him happier after a win than he was after the championship game. He looked like, a lot of times when he won championship, he looked relieved, like, we survived. This time he actually was like, you know what, this was a great win. I don't know if he thought he was even going to pull that out. And that move with Tua, that was a great win.
So, just say XYZ University goes in, new coach, new program, boom, 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 boom. Once they get onto the main stage, they win 2 years in a row. Okay, well, we're supposed to win.
Right.
They lose the third year.
Right.
Now they win it again in the fourth year.
Yep.
Hey, the fourth year is going to be more special.
Right.
You win the first year. Hey, wow, this is fantastic. You win the second year, and now you boosters going, well, of course you're going to win.
The thing is
that's what we expect. To then come back to that.
Well, from my point of view, I did some high school coach or whatever. Every year is different, obviously. So if you win one year and win the next year, you're doing it with different players.
Right.
And different challenges. So, I mean, it's not like, and you say, how does it feel? It feels different. Sometimes it feels better. Sometimes it feels
How does it feel? It's always the dumbest question in the locker room.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. Or the actually guys.
Hey, you just lost the World Series. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Hey, you just won the World Series. How do you feel?
Let me go out and get a Jello. I feel great, It's just.
Speaking of this, I'm going back to the Mets now. 2007.
Not Omar Minaya again.
Well, actually, 2007, Omar Minaya was, in fact, the general manager. 2007 comes down to the last weekend. The Mets have to win. They have to beat the Marlins Saturday and Sunday. They control their own destiny. If they win Saturday, Sunday, boom, they're getting in the playoffs. This is coming off the 2006 year.
How do you remember this? How do you remember this?
Because it's all I have, Joe. No, they come down. John Maine almost throws a no-hitter on Saturday against the Marlins, and at that point, the Mets had never had a no-hitter. Exciting stuff. Next day, Tom Glavine, who was basically the ace of the staff that year, goes out, gets absolutely shelled, hit Dontrell Willis with a pitch to push in a run in the first inning. So A, he's facing the opposing pitcher in the first inning. B, he hits him. C, he hits him with men on. So he didn't make it out of the inning. They asked him afterwards, was this the worst day of your life? He said, no, it's baseball.
Yeah.
And he was done as a Met. Because now it's true. He's a human being. He's got a wife. He's got kids. He's got, whatever else. But the way they phrase the question is the worst day of life. Wrong time to be honest, Tom. But he said, no, it's not the worst day of life. Hey, my wife still loves me. God still loves me. Whatever else. He moved on. And as a Met fan, you just couldn't hear that.
Or they ask these guys, how they feel, and they'll say, I want to credit my teammates, my line. It's a standard answer. And no one asks, no one says. I would have asked Tua, did you really see that guy open on that winning touchdown, or you just throw it up and say, God help us all? I mean, that's what I want to hear. And when you threw a touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley, was that for him or was it for Najee Harris in the back? So that's what I want to hear.
His stock went way up in the press conference, so I loved it. He came out and he said, thank God that Coach Saban found me in Hawaii. I don't know how he knew I was there or whatever else. And here's again, it'd be interesting to see what happens with him and Hurts. Yeah. Hurts has no future in the NFL. I don't believe.
I agree.
But he's a year ahead.
Yeah.
So you got Hurts as what do they call him, rising junior now, or whatever else. So what happens there?
My answer to that is status quo. I think they both go in, they compete for the job, and guys get hurt. Things happen. There's opportunities. I think they can coexist.
You can go old school.
Because one's I think.
Hurts finished his sophomore year.
And Tua's a freshman.
So
if worse comes to worse,
got that year behind.
Right.
Now, obviously, Hurts isn't going to come out early to go to the draft. Right. He's not that kind of player.
Right. And I'm sure Alabama's got, actually, I think they might have the top quarterback in the country coming there next year. A guy named Turner.
Yeah, they also got a kid in 5th grade who verbally committed.
But they just have 5 stars. How about some of the agility and the coordinating of some of their big guys? You see one guy caught the interception off the helmet?
98, yeah.
I mean, my God, the guy's like 900 pounds and
then
like a ballerina
going down the field after that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, it was a great college playoff. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Maybe Nick Saban can take a little page out of Steve Spurrier's book and just start, quarterback by committee. Run them in, run them out.
Well, I think the most amazing thing about those guys like that is like consistency, and every year they're right there at the end, no matter what. And now Georgia's at that level, Clemson's at that level,
yep.
Alabama's at that level, Ohio State's always at that level. You get those 4 teams that are always going to be there. Then you got, Chip Kelly's going to UCLA. You got UCF. You got all these teams that are up and coming.
You got Herm going to Arizona.
I don't know about how that's going to go. I mean, they got a celebrity there. They got a guy that maybe you should get the kids there.
And from a recruiting standpoint, Can he
coach? Yeah.
But again, raise my question again. The next tier down.
Yeah.
Is there a place for those anymore? And I think football is certainly taking a hit. It's taking a hit in the NFL ratings and attendance at the games and everything else.
It's religion. People still love it, no matter what.
Still love it, but there's this movement of it's dangerous and the concussion protocols and hey, it needs to happen. But I think it wouldn't shock me that 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, it's going to you're going to have a lot less.
One of the
kids
teams in the playoffs in the NFL, I don't know which one, I can't remember now, but all 5 of their guys, offensive line, had played every snap of every game this year. I forget which team that was.
Yeah.
That was an amazing thing.
It is an amazing thing. I can remember some years when the Jets were contending and going, into the playoffs deep into, back when they had Testaverde that year, that magic year in '99. Not only did they have 5 guys on the offensive line play every game, they had played every game for a number of years together. And that's an amazing thing. And that's, you had talked about a coach going to a new team and having that all-star quarterback or that franchise quarterback. For the teams that don't, and I think what gets overlooked a lot is having a center. If you have a veteran center that knows what he's doing, he can call coverages, and then take the responsibility away from the quarterback, because that's got to get confusing. Whether you're new to the league or you're new to a system. Gruden's going to go in with Carr. Well, it's not going to be the same system. The language changes, the verbiage changes, and everything else. But you get some 21, 22-year-old kid. Having that veteran lineman.
The bottom line, you can coach each other up, but you got to have good players, obviously. I mean, if you don't have good players and avoid the major or the big injuries, and you can have a decent season. But
what's the key to avoiding injuries? Pliability.
Omar Minaya.
Well, that goes without saying.
You got to have him in your.
You got to be pliable, Joe. You got to be pliable.
Pliable, yeah. Avocado ice cream. Beautiful.
All right, that's going to about wrap us up for tonight. We could keep going, but. Our buddy here is telling us to.
Remember, we still pick New England and the Saints. So
New England and Saints, yeah.
We got a ways to go. Next show, we'll see where they're at. What's coming.
Next show, I'm going to be in Florida.
You'll be in Florida.
So I won't be here.
I got to go. I got to make a call to the Myers and bring up a recruit.
Just for a spot start. Just for a spot start.
Yeah. I'm not going to Wally Pip you. For our older viewers, everybody knows. Everybody else going, who the hell's Wally Pip, right?
We were talking about that before the show. And Chris in the back's like, what is he talking about, Wally Pip?
George, great job.
Man.
Always a pleasure.
Joe, that was a lot of fun. Thanks as always.
I hope we are renewed our contract.
It's a 1-game contract. You never know.
All right. Watch us.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, boss.